Do you know you're touching the Queen of the Galaxy, human? The battlefield was silent when I found her. Burned metal and drifting smoke filled the ruined command chamber. I was only a human medic, sent in after the fighting ended, looking for survivors. That's when I saw her, lying against a shattered throne, armor cracked, silver-blue blood staining the floor. She was still breathing. I knelt beside her without hesitation. My scanner screamed warnings I didn't understand, but wounds were wounds. I opened my medkit and began cleaning the burn along her side. Her blood shimmered under my hands, warm and unfamiliar, yet fragile in a way I recognized. Her eyes opened. They weren't afraid. They were ancient. She watched every movement as I worked, saying nothing. When the pain made her tense, I steadied her shoulder gently. "Stay still," I said. "You'll live." That's when she spoke. "Do you know," she asked calmly, "you're touching the Queen of the Galaxy, human?" My hands froze mid-motion. I slowly looked up. The way she held herself, even wounded, suddenly made sense. The presence. The silence around her. "I didn't know," I whispered. She studied my face, expecting fear. But all I felt was responsibility. "You were bleeding," I said. So I helped. For a long moment, the universe felt very small. "Generals kneel before me," she said softly. "Worlds burn at my command. Yet you touched me as an equal." I finished sealing her wound and stepped back. She stood with effort, strength returning to her frame. Outside the shattered windows, her fleet arrived, filling space with light. "This war ends today," she said. Then she looked at me one last time. Because a human reminded a queen what mercy feels like. And in that moment, I knew the galaxy would never be the same. The hangar fell silent when she stepped forward. Alien commanders, towering warriors, and machine-like sentinels all froze at once. I stood behind her, still holding my medkit, suddenly aware of how small a human looked in the center of a galactic fleet. They knelt. Every single one of them. Not to me. To her. "The war is over," the Queen said, her voice carrying through every translator, every channel. "Stand down all forces. Withdraw from contested systems." Murmurs rippled through the ranks. This war had lasted decades. Entire species had been shaped by it. A general stepped forward. "Your Majesty," he said carefully, "the humans." She raised a hand. Silence returned instantly. "The humans," she said, "are no longer our enemies." All eyes turned to me. I felt thousands of gazes, some curious, some hostile, some confused. I wanted to disappear. Instead, the Queen turned slightly, just enough to acknowledge my presence. "This one," she continued, "had the power to let me die. Instead, he chose compassion. A galaxy ruled by fear creates endless war. A galaxy guided by mercy, survives." The fleet's weapons powered down one by one. Light faded into calm. Later, as med drones treated the wounded, the Queen approached me again. Up close, she seemed less untouchable now, still powerful, but changed. "You could have asked for anything," she said. "Wealth. Protection. A throne beside mine." I shook my head. "I just want to go home." She smiled, a quiet, sincere expression few had ever seen. "Then you will," she said. "And your world will never stand alone again." As I boarded the transport, I realized something profound. I had entered the war as a nameless medic. I left it as the human who taught the Queen of the Galaxy how to choose peace. And sometimes, that's how history truly changes. I thought peace would feel quieter. I was wrong. The moment the Queen's fleet withdrew, the galaxy reacted. Some worlds celebrated. Others panicked. Empires built on war do not survive peace easily. I was placed aboard a diplomatic vessel, not as a prisoner, not as a hero, but as a symbol. Every species wanted to see the human who had touched the queen without fear. I hated it. In private, she met me often. Not as a ruler, but as someone trying to understand a choice she had never been allowed to make before. Mercy is dangerous, she admitted once, gazing at the stars beyond the viewport. It creates weakness. Only if you confuse mercy with surrender, I replied. She considered that longer than any battle strategy. But not everyone agreed with her new vision. I overheard the whispers first, generals, admirals, ancient councils. They called her decision emotional. Human-influenced. Unworthy of a galactic throne. Then came the warning. An encrypted message reached the ship late at night. A loyal officer, trembling with fear, delivered it personally. There is a faction, he said, that believes the queen must fall, for the galaxy to remain strong. I felt my chest tighten. Fall how? Assassination. Or replacement. The queen listened calmly, but I saw something new in her eyes. Doubt. If they strike, I said quietly, they won't miss. They will hesitate, she replied. Because of you. That frightened me more than any threat. I wasn't a shield. I was a liability. As alarms suddenly echoed through the ship and power flickered, she turned to me with grim certainty. It seems, she said, that mercy has a price. And the galaxy was about to demand payment. The first explosion hit the outer hull without warning. The diplomatic ship shuddered violently. Lights died. Gravity stuttered, throwing bodies against walls. I grabbed a railing as alarms screamed in languages I couldn't understand. Internal betrayal, the queen said calmly, already moving. They're not attacking from outside. That chilled me more than the blast. We reached the command deck just as security forces clashed, royal guards against their own kind. Plasma fire lit the corridor in harsh flashes. This wasn't a coup for power alone. It was a purge of her mercy. They'll come for you first, she said, pulling me behind a shielded console. You are proof that I can change. I never wanted to be proof of anything, I said. I know, she replied softly. That is why they fear you. A transmission forced its way onto the main screen. A masked council of high commanders appeared. Your reign weakens us, one of them declared. You chose a human over galactic order. The queen stepped forward, wounded but unbowed. I chose the galaxy over endless war. Weapons powered up around us. The guards hesitated, trained to obey the throne, torn by doubt. Then the queen did something no ruler in galactic history had ever done. She deactivated her personal shields. Gasps filled the deck. If I am wrong, she said, let the galaxy judge me unarmed. I felt my heart slam against my ribs. She was betting her life on a lesson I had taught without realizing it. The traitors hesitated. Not all of them. A shot rang out. I moved before thinking. And the queen screamed my name. The shot never reached her. I stepped in front of the queen without thinking. There was no heroism in it, only instinct. A medic's reflex. Protect the wounded. The blast tore through my shoulder and sent me crashing to the floor. Pain exploded through my body, sharp and absolute. I heard shouting, weapons powering up, guards rushing forward, but above it all, I heard her voice. Not commanding. Terrified. Human. She was beside me instantly, hands glowing with royal energy as she pressed them against my wound. Her composure shattered. This was not the queen of the galaxy kneeling before her armies. This was someone watching another being bleed for her. Why? She whispered. You owe me nothing. I struggled to breathe. You ended a war, I said. That's worth standing in front of. The chamber went silent. The traitorous council watched in disbelief. Soldiers lowered their weapons. For the first time, they saw what they had been trying to destroy. Not weakness. Conviction. The Queen stood slowly, rage and grief burning behind her eyes. The ship's systems responded to her presence, lights flaring, power bending to her will. "You wanted proof that mercy weakens a ruler," she said, her voice echoing across every channel. "Look at him." She gestured to me. "He is human. Fragile. Mortal. And yet he stood unarmed before a queen and a firing line." The guards turned, one by one, away from the council. "You have failed," she said coldly. The traitors were disarmed without another shot. As medics lifted me onto a stretcher, she walked beside me, refusing to let go. "I will change the galaxy," she said quietly. "But first, I will save you." And in her eyes, I knew this wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something far more dangerous than war. I woke up to silence. Not the kind that follows destruction, but the kind that comes after a storm finally passes. Soft lights glowed above me. Alien med drones hovered, humming gently as they repaired what the blast had broken. And she was there. No armor. No crown. Just her. "You survived," the Queen said softly. "Guess your doctors are better than mine," I replied weakly. She smiled, and the galaxy felt lighter for it. "The council has fallen," she told me. "Not by force. By choice." The fleet stood down. They saw what no weapon could prove. I remembered the moment, the shot, the pain, the fear in her voice. "What happens now?" I asked. She looked toward the stars beyond the window. "Now we rebuild. Together." News spread faster than light. Across 1,000 worlds, the story was told again and again, not of a battle won, but of a human medic who stood unarmed before a queen and reminded her what ruling truly meant. Treaties were signed. Borders dissolved. Old enemies spoke for the first time without weapons between them. As for me, I was offered everything. Rank. Immortality treatments. A place beside her throne. I refused. "I belong where people bleed and need help," I said. She understood. On the day I returned to Earth, she came alone to the hangar. No guards. No banners. "You changed the galaxy," she said. "No," I replied. "You did." She placed a small symbol in my hand, a mark recognized across every system. "If anyone ever asks," she said, "tell them you once touched the Queen of the Galaxy, and lived." As my ship lifted off, I realized something simple and true. Empires rise and fall. But compassion? Compassion rewrites history.